In March 2000, we traveled on a small boat called the Clipper Adventure along the fjords of Chile. We visited glaciers and small ports along the way. We spent the first part of the trip in Santiago, Chile, viewing various government buildings, churches, and places of interest in Santiago. And there we boarded the Clipper Adventure, which is a small boat which holds about 100 passengers. The one nice thing about these type of cruises is that they do have experts on board that give lectures during the day, and they also have access to small rubber rafts called zodiacs, in which you get in and then are able to land in some of the smaller cities along the coast of various countries, places that the larger cruise ships don't go to. It's a very laid-back type of cruise with more learning and educational abilities. They do have excellent food on board. The cabins are not the luxurious type that you would have on a big cruise ship where you might have casinos and shopping. This is basically adventure type cruising. On this trip, we also visited National Park of Torres, Paine, and also Buenos, Argentina at the end of the trip. We traveled along the Chilean Fjords, starting at Santiago. And on our way from Santiago, we went to Puerto Montt. We visited an emu farm. Emus are animals kind of like ostriches. And then we embarked upon the Clipper Adventure at Puerto Montt for a voyage along the fjords of Chile. We didn't see another vessel the entire time that we were traveling on this little cruise ship. And we traveled over 1,000 miles along the sparsely populated inner passage of the Chilean fjords. We had stops in various towns: Puerto Natales, Castro, Punta Arenas, which is the southernmost city in South America. And we stopped also on the glaciers to actually get up close to the glaciers. And along the fjords, we experienced the scenic beauty of many mountains, waterfalls, glaciers, natural wildlife, flying fish. Yeah, these fish that just look like they were flying. Dolphins. We saw some rare black Chilean dolphins. They actually jumped over our little Zodiac boats, which was quite thrilling. And we did see, I believe, a couple of whales and many different marine birds. One of the interesting birds were the Arctic terns, which are common also in Alaska and in Antarctica. And they're very tiny little birds that, when you see a glacier that calves or falls off into the water, these birds just fly all over, and they're actually gathering the insects and so forth that fly off from the icebergs breaking off. We visited several local churches and handicraft markets along the way. We saw homes, buildings, and very colorful ports with brightly painted fishing boats. One of the churches that we saw that I have a picture of is the Iglesia de San Francisco of Castro, Chile, and it was brightly painted orange with purple. And all of this made for great photos. When we reached the tip of Chile, we took a bus tour of Torres del Paine National Park and the Milodon Cave. And we also saw very scenic mountains, waterfalls, lakes, animals. One of the most common animals down there is called a guanaco, and it's similar to a llama. We also saw the Andean condors, flamingos, some fox, mountain lions, black-necked swans, some black-crested buzzard eagles, and many other types of birds. We saw all the tourist attractions in the park that included the towers, the horns, and the Glacier Gray, which were various mountains and glaciers within that park. At the end of the tour, we ended up in Buenos Aires, Argentina. There we took a city tour and visited the famous cemetery there, where we saw where Eva Perón was buried. The cemeteries in South America, there are above ground, sort of like what you would see, I would imagine, in Louisiana and New Orleans. Buenos Aires is a very beautiful city. We've had an opportunity to go back there several other times on other trips, and it's very European. Architecture is very much like Paris. A lot of statues, a lot of charm, and a very lovely city to visit. This is the Travel Lady, and thanks for coming along.